got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA.
Thank you for downloading, streaming. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in here to the Sacramento Kings podcast, another post-game edition as the Sacramento Kings fall to 0-2 to begin this 2019-20 season. Kings fall short. The home opener at the Golden One Center against the Portland Trail Blazers, 122-119. This game had an entirely different feel than the one just a couple of nights ago in Phoenix. We will do our best to break that down for you as well. Also, since the last time we talked, Marvin Bagley, as everybody is well aware of, is going to miss the next 4 to 6 weeks. Marshall Harris of CBS 13 talked to him recently. You'll hear that sound coming up in just a little bit. If you caught our episode with James Ham just a couple of episodes ago, you heard him talk about the mystery that is Harry Giles. Well, he was able to speak to Harry Giles as well. Marshall did, Sean Cunningham, James Ham, they all were able to talk to Harry Giles. You'll hear what Harry said in that conversation. But to the matters at hand, the Golden One Center, the Portland Trailblazers, they get the win tonight, their first win of the season, 122-112. Again, this didn't have the same feel as the game the other night. De'Aaron led the Sacramento Kings with 28 points. Buddy Hield with 21. Dame Dollar led all scores with 35. Hassan Whiteside had 22. CJ McCollum, 19. A very timely 19. A very timely 35, if I might add. We'll do our best to break this Dame down for you. Not break Dame down for you. Nobody's breaking Dame down. We'll do our best to break this game down for you. And it started slow. The Kings missed their first 6 shots. Then they went on an 11-0 run. And if there was really ever a microcosm of a game, that might have been it. Missed the first 6 shots. Then they went on an 11-0 run. That was a theme all throughout the game. Just 2 turnovers in the quarter. So if you're looking for, increments of positivity, well, there's one. They didn't turn the ball over as much, and they protected the ball there in the first quarter. It wasn't great shooting from either side, but the Kings had a 27-25 lead at the end of one, and it was just kind of like, all right, let's go. Let's see what's happening here. No big takeaways from the first quarter. Second quarter comes around, and I'm sure this caught your attention as much as it caught mine. We saw a lineup with Corey Joseph, Buddy Hield, Bogi, Barnes, and Rashawn Holmes. And that lineup, it kind of got Bogi going a little bit. And the game, again, it just kind of went back and forth. We saw a lot of Harrison Barnes at the 4 when Dedmon and Fox came back in. I imagine that's something we're going to see quite a bit. This was a game that Kings fans were obviously watching very closely. It's the first game, and there's going to be quite a few without Marvin Bagley. We knew that we were going to see. We knew that we were going to see Harrison Barnes at least a little bit at the 4, and we saw, variations of a small lineup running here a little bit in the second quarter. Kings went on 11-2 run. It was great. It was countered by an 8-0 run by the Blazers. Again, theme of the game. A few turnovers, a couple of fouls, wind up tied at 57 at the half. Nothing spectacular. It really was nothing stand out. And I started to think as the half wound down, I started to think about Wednesday night's game, and I remember thinking the Kings were playing exceptionally poor in Phoenix. I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel that they were playing poor against Portland. I just didn't think Portland had really hit the gas. It felt like, and correct me if I'm wrong, let me know how you feel. You can always connect with the show, by the way, any time of day or night, 916-888-5898. The first half, 57 points, it's a pretty decent amount of points, but it felt like two teams just kind of going through the motions, running up and down the floor. Not really a lot happening. Kings shot 50% from 3. They shot 43.2% from the field. But again, I hate to go back to Wednesday's game, but that's just the sample size that we have right now. 9 assists to 8 turnovers. It was nearly identical. Now, turnovers, it was the third quarter that killed the Sacramento Kings in terms of that turnover category on Wednesday. That didn't happen this week, or that didn't happen this game, I should say. But De'Aaron, he led the Kings with 14. Bogi carried the bench with 13. That was there in the first half. And then the third quarter got here. and I started getting text on the text line. Again, 916-888-5898. Like, all right, here we go. I'm nervous. Like, this is the third quarter. Like, we know just for some reason things go awry here in the fourth quarter. And true to brand, things went awry in the third quarter. The Portland Trail Blazers opened up the third with 12 straight points, 5 missed shots, and 2 turnovers before Nemanja Bjelica hit a runner on what just looked like a completely broken play. And this is where the game really got weird for me. This is not even the game. This is where the quarter got weird. Because after those 12 straight points, and again, you go back and you look at the points that the Blazers scored, they were wide open. I mean, you talk about uncontested. There's uncontested, and then there is completely uncontested. That's what the Blazers were getting there at the start of the third quarter. Just completely uncontested shots. Whether it was layups, whether it was jump shots, whether it was three-pointers, everything for them was easy. Then Belly hits that shot, and all of a sudden, the Kings defense kind of kicked into hyperdrive. We saw the Kings forcing turnovers in transition. We saw the Kings playing pretty solid defense in the half court. Unfortunately, they couldn't get, they got a handful of shots to fall to cut the lead down a little bit, but they didn't get enough to really make an impact into the game. I mean, they cut, a 12-point lead down to 5, down to 6, but they were never ever really able to get over that hump. But you saw moments where, they'd miss a shot at the end. Dame would run them in transition, and then they would stop the play. They would stop the ball. They would force a turnover. Dame, he knocked the ball out of bounds a couple of times. They took some bad shots on the other end, and suddenly it's like, okay, wait a minute. There's there's something right there. I see defense. It's like the Sixth Sense. I see it. There it is. Okay, they can do this. All right, and that was with the starting lineup. All right, that was with Belly and De'Aaron and Buddy and Harrison Barnes. It was like, okay, that's a good look, and then it stopped. Then it completely went away. The first half, as we mentioned, it was kind of just, it was like an exchange of baskets, to get to that 57-57 tie at halftime. It was just like, you score, I score, you score, I score. That just felt like it went on for the entire quarter. It felt like the third quarter saw an exchange of runs. It was just like, okay, an 11-2 run, an 8-0 run, a 5-0 run, an 8-2 run. Like, it just, that went on through the entire third quarter. The Kings were outscored 37-27. It's absolutely insane to me that I'm sitting here telling you that I very much believe there was a 2.5 to 3 minute stretch of the Kings playing really solid defense. And it's a quarter in which they gave up 37 points. That is completely ass backwards. Either they played awful defense the other 9 minutes of the game, or I am completely overvaluing that short stretch, or maybe that stretch isn't as nearly as long as I thought it was. But I thought there was a stretch where the Kings were playing good transitional defense and good half-court defense. And amazingly, it's still the quarter in which they gave up 37 points. They were outscored 37-27. I'm going to go back and watch this game. No, I'm not. I take that back. I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch this third quarter tomorrow and see if I'm just completely off. And we'll revisit that in the next podcast. But I feel like if you were there in the arena, or even if you were watching on TV, you're aware of the stretch that I'm talking about. And then the fourth quarter gets underway. Rashawn Holmes and Dwayne Dedmon both entered the fourth quarter with 5 fouls. If this is life for the Sacramento Kings bigs, without Marvin Bagley, we've got some issues, man. We've got a problem. Nemanja Bjelica was able to get a few baskets. I mean, he had 9 points. Dwayne Dedmon had 6. Dwayne Dedmon and Rashawn Holmes both entered the fourth quarter with 5 fouls. Trevor Ariza was just not there. He just was not there defensively. He wasn't there offensively. I can remember him on the floor one time, and it's because the camera caught him talking to the official. That is the one thing that I remember from Trevor Ariza this entire game. Played 21 minutes, 0-4 from the field, 1 rebound, a couple of assists. If you care about the plus-minus category, he was minus 12. He just was non-existent. He was not there. Rashawn Holmes, he was 17 minutes for Rashawn Holmes. I mentioned the 5 fouls. He was 4 of 6 from the field, 10 points. But here's the issue. No Marvin Bagley. Also, no double-digit rebounder. Dwayne Dedmon had 8. Nemanja had 7. But no double-digit rebounder. Life without Marvin Bagley could get pretty difficult here. Could get pretty difficult here over the course of the next 2 to 4 weeks. Blazers got themselves in the penalty with about 7 minutes and 47 seconds left. And the Kings were able to cut a 10-point lead down to 5. And then the Kings responded by getting themselves in the penalty with 6 minutes and 33 seconds left. The game terribly slowed down. There was a pace in the first half. Again, it was just a back and forth pace. There was a pace in the third quarter. The two teams scored, it was 37-27 in that third quarter. There was a pace there. Dude, the fourth quarter just hit the brakes with the whistles. And I know I'm not going to bitch and complain about, how the fouls were called. I feel like they were called pretty evenly. And if you think that they were called poorly, I think they were called poorly on both sides. So the game it just hit the brakes with about 6 minutes left. Dame Lillard hit a shot. He hit a shot from the Kings logo, man, at half court. That put the Blazers up by 12, and that was pretty much it. I think that was around I didn't write down that time marker, forgive me. I think it was around 4.5 or 5 minutes. Kings waved the white flag at about 2.5, and that was a wrap. Kings lose their second straight to start the season here, 122-112. As I mentioned, De'Aaron Fox led the way for the Sacramento Kings with 28 points. Buddy Hield, he had 21 points that feels like they were just scored in pockets. Like he didn't have the big outburst that he had against the Phoenix Suns. He had moments where he had some timely baskets, don't get me wrong, but he didn't hit spurts of baskets. And those guys were trying to carry the offensive load. Harrison Barnes had 13. Bogdan Bogdanovic led the way for the crew on the bench. He had 16. Again, Rashawn Holmes had 10 points in his 17 minutes, but nothing from Trevor Ariza up until they waved the white flag. The rotation had been cut down to, it was 9 guys. Yogi Ferrell hadn't gotten in. Corey Joseph was getting some run, and that's, that was the game plan that the Kings kind of had executed. They were better with turnovers. I mean, they weren't great, but they were better. They weren't better with assists. 17 assists to 17 turnovers. That's not the ratio you want. They did out-rebound the Portland Trailblazers, 43-40, so you can make of that what you will. But it doesn't feel like there's enough firepower. It didn't feel like there was enough firepower. There was a moment, it was very clear when Dame Lillard took over. Let's check in with the head coach, Luke Walton, here.
Let's start with the positive. I thought Fox, really nice tonight. The way he started attacking the rim and being, being our leader out there. That's what I'm talking about. That was really nice to see from him. Rebounding, something we challenged ourselves on after getting pushed around in Phoenix. Got much better tonight against, a team that's a very good offensive rebounding team with good size on it. So I was happy with that. And then the three-pointers, that's kind of what we're looking to do. The way we got them by penetrating and kicking, the amount we got and the number we hit. I thought we had some more good looks that we just didn't make tonight. For whatever reason, you're always going to have nights where you miss shots. But those things I thought were all positives for us tonight. Things that we need to continue to stress on with our guys and get better at our third quarters. We talk about it as a team. In the preseason, it was, for the most part, a struggle of ours. In Phoenix, it definitely was. Tonight, it was again. So this come out of the half, our turnovers, very pleased in the first quarter. I think we had 2. and we won the first quarter. So these are things that we see, that we are addressing, that we know we need to fix. And as we fix them, we will become a better basketball team and give ourselves better chances to win some of these games. And then, again, our defense, right? This is why we're stressing defense, and we're not there yet. It takes time, it takes work, but 54% giving Portland 50, and they're a very good team. It's a playoff team. They were 2 or 3 in the West last year. They have 2 All-Stars. They've been running this offense for a lot of years, and they're a very good team, so give them credit. But we need to be able to get stops, and tonight we were not able to.
Luke, Katie Hunter, Kings TV, you mentioned the defensive issues that you've seen just through preseason in the first 2 games. Where specifically are you most concerned and that you're looking to address first?
Well, the league has turned into a pick-and-roll league for the most part. A lot of teams are playing with 4 shooters out. I mean, tonight there was lineups where Harrison was the center, and they had Zach Collins playing center for them. So there's small lineups. You have to be able to stop the point of attack, which is a lot of times pick and roll. So, that's kind of where it starts at. And then for us, it finishes with those rebounds that we struggled with. I actually thought we had made some nice strides towards the end of the preseason with our defense, but it has unfortunately not carried over into the regular season mode. It will. We'll get there.
You mentioned the third quarter issues both in Phoenix and here tonight. This was something that this team struggled with last year as well. I'm sure from watching game film and kind of getting to know this team, that was something that stuck out to you. It puzzled them as well. As a player, what are the types of things that you would suggest doing to try and get that going for them in the third?
Well, you gotta make sure that you get out there first and get your get warm. Make sure you're doing whatever is appropriate for you at that half-time intermission to get your body going again. And then take a breath, mentally, check in, recenter yourself, okay, here we go again, 24 more minutes type of mentality. And it sounds easy, but it is a challenge. I've done it as a player before. Sometimes it's hard to get going, but that's not an okay excuse. We got to be better as a group with that.
It felt like Luke Walton was kind of taking the, hey, it's going to take time, guys, approach. Yeah, I don't know that that's going to work, dog. I don't know that that's going to work. Like, I get it. I hear you. You're the first-year head coach. Completely understand. This is new. This ball club is new to you. This team, this city, this fan base, they had aspirations this year, and it wasn't, let's figure it out. I told you during some off-season podcasts that I appreciated the way that Vlade had handled questions about expectations for the Sacramento Kings. I think those are the things that you say publicly. But let's not pretend De'Aaron Fox didn't tell USA Basketball, or at least let's not pretend it wasn't publicly stated that De'Aaron Fox is stepping away from USA Basketball to focus on the Kings making the playoffs. Let's not pretend that Marvin Bagley didn't step away from USA Basketball for the same exact reason. And though it might be unspoken within the front office publicly, the aspirations, the goals, they're very clear. And unlike previous years where, every team sets a goal to make the playoffs, every team sets a goal to win a championship. But this time, when it comes to making the playoffs, that goal for the Sacramento Kings, it felt like it was very, very much in reach. So this, we're going to work on it. We've been trying to tell you, like, we're going to work on this, guys. We're going to figure this out. Like, well, when are you going to figure it out? Because you're going to wrap up this media conference and you're going to head to Utah. And then you come back from Utah and you're going to take on Denver. Now, if you ask some people during the preseason, a lot of people thought, well, Denver is going to be number 1. Utah is going to be number 2. You would have some people that say Utah is going to be number 1. Denver is going to be number 2. But I would be willing to bet most of the people you talk to about, hey, let's do some fun Western Conference rankings, Denver and Utah, they were up there in the 1, 2, 3, or 4 range. And the Kings, they're not getting a break. They're going to take on the Charlotte Hornets on Wednesday. Don't start looking at your schedule and starting to count W's. I'm just telling you what they got coming up. And then guess who's back on Friday? They're going to play on Saturday night in Utah, and then the Jazz are going to play here next Friday, on November 1st. And then the Kings hit the road, and they got the Knicks after that. They got the Raptors after that. They got the Hawks after that. They're on the road for a while. There's no breaks here. Like, they're starting the season, man. They got to hit the gas. They're coming right out of this. Jazz, by the way, they lost to the Lakers tonight. So I guess that's one good thing in that the Jazz had a back-to-back as well. And it's going to be the Kings and it's going to be the Jazz in Utah. So the Kings, they're starting their season 0-2 right now. One of the major stories since the last time we spoke, was the health of Marvin Bagley. As I noted at the start of this podcast, and you are all very aware of, Marvin Bagley is out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. My man Marshall Harris had an opportunity to spend a couple of minutes with him. Here is what MB3 had to say about his injury and about being out for the next few weeks.
What was your initial reaction when you got the results back?
I was shocked. But at the same time, it could be a lot worse. I'm only out 4 to 6. So I'm positive, man. I'm still the same. I got a workout in this morning. I'm still going at it. So it's just another day. Unfortunate, but can't control it.
What's the hardest part for you?
I hate not playing. Whenever I'm not out there playing and competing, and especially on opening night, that's always a tough thing. But like I said, everything happens for a reason. It was out of my control. I didn't like I went and broke it myself. I can't control it, so I just got to do what I can to be ready when I get back.
What's the biggest reinforcement you've gotten, whether it's from family, friends, coaches, teammates, anybody?
Just stay positive, man. We just starting. It's better that it happened now than in the middle of the season. Like I said, man, there's nothing that I could do really to kind of take it back. So I got to do what I can moving forward to make sure that I come back better than I was coming in to preseason, and it'll be a fun little process to go through.
Thanks again to Marshall Harris for that. He's relatively upbeat, right? Sounds like he's got a good grasp of what's going on. Didn't sound too down about it, which is, I'm sure that he is, as you heard him say. Just not being out there is a problem. Like, not being out there stinks. But he's got the positive mindset, and hopefully in 4 to 6 weeks he'll be ready to go. The question is, where will the Sacramento Kings be in the next 4 to 6 weeks? If you had the opportunity to listen to our episode with James Ham recently, if you had the opportunity to listen to our conversation with James Ham, we spoke a little bit about Harry Giles, and Hammer referred to Harry as, he's kind of he's a mystery. They've basically hid him from us since media day. We haven't had the opportunity to talk to him. I want you to have the opportunity to hear from Harry Giles in a minute, but first, De'Aaron Fox.
We just got to figure out, how to come out better in that third quarter. So.
After the frequent foul, how are you feeling right now?
Just a little bit sore in the hip, but I got tight hips anyway, so. But we're working on it. I'm getting this over with, so I'll go upstairs, get in the tub, just try to work it out. We got a quick turnaround tomorrow, so.
It's all about the runs, but do you feel like sometimes there's runs in focus with this group?
I do not understand that question.
Do you think there's lulls, ups and downs in focus?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think, with the way the game goes, there are times where we get up, 7, 8 points, and they bring it back to 5, and then they get it down to 2. And that's something that, we feel like we have to work on. In the third quarter, they went on a 10-0 run, we bring it back to 1, but then they push it back. And that's stuff that veteran teams do. That's stuff that we have to learn to do. Obviously, we feel like we can compete with anybody. We feel like we can beat anybody. But it's just those things. When it's a game of runs, you got to try to stop teams' runs. And I don't think we did that in the first half. Obviously, we still gave ourselves a chance to win. But that's what they did in the second half. We would bring it back, they would push it up. We would bring it back, they would push it up. And, that's something that we have to focus on.
De'Aaron's been knocked around a lot these first 2 games, and that's certainly something to be concerned about. The Kings were relatively injury-free last year. We know that Buddy Hield played 82 games. I know that Marvin Bagley, I think, missed 20. Harry Giles missed some time at the end of the year. But for the most part, when the season mattered the most, the Kings were relatively injury-free. Obviously, they're dealing with this situation with Marvin Bagley now. We've seen De'Aaron get banged up here the first 2 games, and then we've got this situation with Harry Giles. I mentioned that Sean Cunningham, James Ham, and Marshall Harris all had the opportunity to talk to him. And here's Harry Giles talking about, where he's at now and where he's been.
Right.
Do you feel that you're behind in any way?
Right. No, I don't feel like that because I've been around, so I've been learning to play and stuff like that. Still staying in shape. So I think just me being in it, being around it, trying to just throw myself in there as much as I can, regardless if I'm playing or not, it's been keeping me in. So, it's not my first time being here either. So, I know how to adapt.
And fans have obviously seen, what you've said on social media and
right.
stuff like that. And you said you were okay. I mean,
right.
How much do you try to put them at ease, to put yourself at ease?
I mean, I just going to tell the truth, man. You know what I'm saying? If I feel all right, I just got to take the right steps and make sure I'm all right. So that's what it is. I'll be good soon. So
is it hard to see your name, people speculate? Because
right. It's tough. I mean, it is what it is. I understand with my body and my history that I'm going to go through it. It's going to be some negativity most of the time. So not throw out about that. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. I see it. So, it's whatever.
Easy for you to tune that stuff out when you see on social media and
everything. Yeah, it's just words. It's anybody tweeting. You can tweet whatever you want. So we all go tweet whatever the hell we want. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a comment, just an observation. If I start killing in 2 months, then they will be like, oh, my God. You know what I'm saying? So I know how I go. It's all right.
This staff is still a little brand new.
Right.
Getting to know you, even the training staff.
Right.
How is that kind of coming along?
It's been good. It's a lot of new faces all around. And, even with the game the other day, we just got to learn each other still, Not to say that we should go be about 30, but still, you got to be patient, you know what I'm saying? We got to just wait for it to just gel, and it's going to take some time, new faces, new teammates, and we're going to get it together. So everything will be good.
Is there something you can do to avoid this going forward, or is it just one of those things that happen?
Avoid what?
Having a flare-up.
I guess you can say that. It just happens. I work hard, so if you work hard, you might flare up sometimes, so. Not like I got hurt or anything.
So there's Harry Giles talking about where he's at, where he's been, where he's going. You could hear the frustration in his voice a little bit. But again, it's one of those situations where it doesn't sound super serious. Man, it would have been nice to have him out there tonight. But when it all boils down to it, Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, that's a problem that the Sacramento Kings are going to run into quite a bit. De'Aaron Fox is on the verge of that big money deal. We saw what Buddy got paid. You're going to have to start you want all-star money, you're going to have to have all-star production. And these are those moments, these are those types of games when Dame Lillard is starting to take over. Someone's got to shut him down defensively. And if there is no one there to shut him down defensively, there's got to be someone there who can match what he's doing offensively. And there aren't many guys in the league that can do that. So the Sacramento Kings, after a 122-112 loss, are 0-2 on the season. They're going to take on the Utah Jazz on Saturday night in Utah. No post game following that one. We will be back on Monday. We'll be back Monday immediately following the Sacramento Kings hosting the Denver Nuggets at the Golden One Center. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Never miss a single episode. They're going to be coming at you fast and furious now that the season is finally here. So subscribe. If you wouldn't mind rating the show, typing up a little review, that would be fantastic as well. Share it with all your friends that are Kings fans. Share it with all your friends that are basketball fans. We're going to be pushing out a ton of Sacramento Kings content all throughout this regular season. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Sacramento Kings fall to 0-2 after a loss at the Golden One Center. We'll see you on Monday following the game against the Denver Nuggets.